Hello and welcome to Rock Paper Shotgun. That's the kind of polite welcome you won't get in Fallout 76, where you're forced out of a cozy underground bunker and expected to fight a world of mutant horrors. If there's one thing I know about the apocalypse, it's that it wasn't designed to be user-friendly, so I'm going to be sharing the tips and tricks that got me through the early hours of Fallout 76 and made the whole thing a lot more fun to explore. As a precursor tip, I do recommend following the Overseer's questline at the start of the game. It serves as a good introduction to the world and gives you plans to craft some essential items. Avoid it and you'll miss some useful stuff. Otherwise, my tips are about improving quality of life, how to stretch your limited inventory space further, how to start improving your weapons, speed up exploration, and prepare some fun toys for when you're a higher level. Oh, and do stay until the end, where we race through shorter tips that made our life easier. Now, time to leave the vault and get on with it. The major thing you'll butt heads with is the inventory limitation. You're in a world with near infinite amounts of stuff to steal and no pocket space to put any of it. It's like that Twilight Zone episode where the last man on Earth breaks his glasses and can't read his books. Only in this version, we steal his glasses and crush them into bullets. You have a personal inventory and a stash. That's the blue box you can build as part of your camp, or find at red rocket buildings or train stations. I must admit, my camp is just a stash box and stove at the moment, though more on that later in the video. Anything you transfer to one stash box is found in the others, and safe from other survivors. Problem is, both your pockets and the box fill incredibly fast, so here's advice to stay ahead of it. Keep your pockets lighter by breaking down junk into raw materials, and when you can, move these parts to the stash. It's vital that you crush junk down, or it'll end up filling the stash too. You can scrap junk at any workbench or crafting station. Doesn't matter if it's for guns, armour, chemicals or ammo. You just press R and use the bench and then press T to scrap all junk. It'll save you space and give you parts to start crafting and building. That said, do keep an eye on what you're filling the stash with. You get steel from most scrap, and wood is very easy to find. You just have to interact with logs on forest floor or piles of chopped wood. Maybe think about trading these more available materials, or bundling up steel into bulk steel at the tinker's workbench, which can then be sold to vendors. You should also scrap weapons and armour you aren't using. Lower level stuff is easy to smash up, but you'll also waste space hoarding items you can't use yet. Don't be precious about that level 30 combat rifle when you're level 5, unless it's a one-of-a-kind legendary with an amazing mod. You'll find plenty more guns like it as you level up, so only hold on to what you currently like to use. Oh, and this little thing is really easy to miss. Make sure you're actually reading the plans and recipes you find. Each one weighs a quarter of a pound, and you can't actually craft the item without reading it. It's very easy to miss. You might also want to invest in perk cards that decrease weight of common items. You'll want to invest in the strength stat in order to use cards like Pack Rat or Travelling Pharmacy. One item you might want to hoard early on is Power Armour. These clunking suits are first come, first served. Once a player grabs one, it's gone until a new one spawns. If you find armour in the early hours, it's understandable that you'd want to lock it down. Even the lowest level armour parts requires you to be level 15 to wear them. It won't let a lower level character climb into the frame without going into the transfer screen and stripping the frame of all those parts. You can still clomp around in the frame, but the problem is your pockets are now full of heavy power armour parts. There is a trick, however. Once inside a stripped frame, exit the suit, you just hold the E key on PC, and use the transfer screen to reattach the higher level parts you weren't able to use. Leave the suit alone and it will warp to your inventory with an automatic weight of 10, regardless of what's attached to it. In effect, you bundle up heavy armour parts into one sleek package that can be used at a later time. Think of it like that amazing car you can't drive until your 17th birthday. Incidentally, if you're looking for a reliable level 15 suit, I recommend heading up here to the Crosshair. Not many people venture up to these cliffs, and I've been able to find a Raider Power Armour every time I visit. Of course, if loads of people watch this video, and I hope they do, the armour will always be gone. I am sorry about that. With caps being hard to come by, you don't want to waste currency on buying weapon mods from vendors. You can learn them for free by scrapping weapons, which you can do at any workbench or crafting station. What mod you get isn't tied to the weapon you scrap. You can unlock some pretty tasty stuff by trashing generic low-level weapons. So it's important to pick up duplicates and scrap away. You'll often find at least one crafting bench in bigger locations, so once the firefight is over, do a lap of the area picking up every last weapon. Don't worry about becoming over-encumbered, you'll be scrapping all this stuff in seconds. As you scrap duplicate weapons, keep an eye out for durability. This is one area where all weapons do vary. If you've got 5 cloned shotguns, pick the one in the best condition, or with a longer durability bar. As mentioned before, don't sit on high-level guns waiting for the day you'll be skilled enough to use them. You'll be drowning in the things in no time, so get more mods and earn back inventory space. The same logic applies to armour, although you pick up less of this than the guns, so it takes longer to collect good armour mods. One way around this, although it isn't resource efficient, is to craft low-level armour pieces yourself and then scrap them. Even though you're building basic parts, you still have a chance of earning mods from them. The downside is that you lose materials in the process, though they are common ingredients, and it's arguably quicker than waiting for armour drops. The same technique works for guns, but when most enemies are dropping weapons, it's dumb to waste parts on this process. On the subject of armour mods, the one you really want to look out for early on is the pocketed trait. This increases your personal inventory, and every little helps. I'd almost be tempted to buy a pocketed mod if you see it being sold by a vendor. The prices are rough, but it's really good to invest in quality of life improvements. The next bit of advice will upset people who enjoy building. I don't count myself amongst them. The mouse keyboard controls make it fiddlier than constructing a real-life house. Instead, I use the campsite as a glorified fast travel point. You see, it's free to travel to your camp, and it's also free to travel back to the door of Vault 76. By placing the camp far away from Vault 76, you can create a handy shortcut between the gentle west side of the map and the harsher east side. It took me hours to creep my way over to the Cranberry Bogs, but now I can zip back to friendly old Grafton without paying a penny. And when even the rad stags in Cranberry Bogs are kicking your teeth in, it is nice to return to the first place and execute some level 1 Scorched. There's a second benefit to fast travel, of course. Fast travelling costs caps. The further the distance, the higher the price. From Charleston to Clarksburg, for example, it costs 39 caps. But instead of just paying to jump from where you are to where you want to go, check first to see if Vault 76 or your camp is closer. Make use of that free journey first, and then pay the reduced price for the second journey. From the camp to Clarksburg, it's only 6 caps. That's a saving of 33 caps, and now you can treat yourself to something nice, like some dog food. Of course, as you push into new areas, it might be worth moving your camp with you. You can summon the camp to your location from inside the Pip-Boy, that's the Z key on the PC, but the cost grows every time you do it, so do make sure the move is beneficial. Fallout 76 map is vast, but it's impressively dense. You walk in any direction and you'll see hints of new locations appearing on the compass bar. Even so, when you're given a quest location that's miles away, it can hurt the momentum of the story. My personal technique for long journeys is a bit of an odd one, but it works for me. I run in the direction of the quest marker, but I always head for the nearest undiscovered locations. Discovered locations act as spawn points when you die, so I basically base my whole journey on creating a path of spawn points to where I want to go. I also pack away my junk in the stash before I leave. You drop junk when you die, and this way, if I bite the bullet to a surprise monster encounter, it doesn't cost me anything. As death now comes at no real cost, I also don't waste health items on the trip. If I die, I just respawn a few seconds away and try the area again. This way you're not eating through stim packs and Radaway on the A to B journey, and can save them for the quest at the other end. After all, it's much more important to stay alive when fighting a boss creature or the like. It's a bit of a cynical way of playing, basically sending out my survivor to die. It can be 2 steps forward, 1 step back, but it does mean you make fast progress without eating through all those useful items. Of course, if you're loaded with caps, unlikely in the early hours of the game, you could just shell out to warp to an event that is closer to your objective. That's another way to quickly get a foothold in a distant corner of the map, but I prefer to do it on the cheap. We could argue for days about the best perk cards. It really does depend on the character build you're going for. At the start of the game, the temptation is to favour strength and melee builds, as guns are in short supply, but it only takes an hour or so to push past that initial hurdle, and then you might feel like you've wasted perk cards on Gladiator. I'd personally put in a little shout out for Scrounger and Farmer, which lets you search ammo and chemical boxes for bonus supplies, both great for hoarding health and bullets. Just remember to manually activate it before you loot a box. On PC it's the spacebar. Also worth noting, when you pick a special stat to level up, you don't have to pick a new perk card from that stat. You can filter to the other perk cards, it's C and Z on PC, to pick up a card from a different category. It's a little thing, but easy to miss. My big piece of advice about perk cards is to swap them in and out as you need them. Some cards only need to be active for very specific actions, so should only be in play for those actions. Take Perception. I have 3 points which I use for 3-star Concentrated Fire card, but when I find a locked safe, I quickly swap Concentrated Fire for Pick Lock, so I can trigger the lock picking minigame. And once the safe is open, I swap the VAT booster back in, better than spending another stat point on Perception. For another example, over in Charisma I currently have 2 points for Lone Wanderer, lowering damage when I'm alone, but I can easily drop in Hard Bargain when I'm dealing with vendors, and that will improve prices. Of course, how granular you want to go depends on how efficiently you want to play. Do you really want to swap in First Aid perk every time you want to use a stim pack to gain that health bonus on it? Probably not. But there are other powers, weapons damage buffs or general defensive buffs that should arguably be in play from minute to minute action. Finally, a couple of bits that just don't live anywhere else in this video. Getting annoyed at how dark those levels are? Hold the Pip-Boy key, that's tab on PC, and you'll turn on the flashlight. Much better. I know there are a lot of notes dotted around and it can be boring to read them, but do try to read them as they can sometimes point to hidden stashes of items, like in this quest where a note describes where a key to an armory is. It won't be added as a formal quest, but is well worth doing. If you've just died and have a respawn point next to your point of death, it can be good to wait a few seconds before respawning. Give the enemies who killed you a chance to disperse. If that glowing sod was there 5 seconds ago, he'll still be there now. You can also get the well rested bonus by sleeping on beds, but you run a risk of diseases if you sleep on the ground, on things like sleeping bag or mattresses, so try and look for bed frames. If you gain enough radiation, you earn a random mutation. Some of them are actually pretty beneficial. You can lose a mutation by taking Radaway to cure it, but if you find yourself with a useful one, you might want to consider unlocking the Starch Genes perk. It's a level 1 luck perk and lets you keep a mutation when you cure your radiation. Very handy. The game doesn't pause as you're on your Pip-Boy. You can usually hear attackers, but it's worth activating the transparent view option to keep an eye on your surroundings, if you're in hostile territory. I won't spoil its contents, but I stumbled onto what became my favourite quest I've done so far, a tale of vigilante crime fighters, by picking up a holotape off this body, which you can find here by White Springs. I recommend getting on it as it's one of the highlights of the game so far. And that's quite enough from me. I hope at least some of these have been useful. Fallout 76 is a complicated game and doesn't always explain itself brilliantly. Hopefully this advice will help you survive that little bit longer. Of course, please do add your own tips to the comments, and if you want me to explain or clarify anything in this video, just ask below. If you enjoyed our Fallout 76 tips video, why not subscribe to Rock Paper Shotgun? We'll be doing lots more with Fallout as we dig deeper into it. We also cover non-Fallout 76 games too, and try our best not to waste your time on duffers. A subscription and a like would be much appreciated, but I'll leave that to you. Thanks for watching, and hopefully see you soon.